Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Today's reading is going to be about karma. But before I start, can I just say, if you like the readings, please check out Patreon. My Patreon. Don't check out anybody else's, just mine. And thank you very much for all your comments thank you for sharing yourself, because it makes it feel more alive to me. It's just interesting to me to find out what's going on, what's happening with you, your thoughts, your feelings, what's going through your heads. Today's reading is about karma. Karma is something that I think about quite a lot, strangely enough, because I'm a bit unusual. I suppose you all do, you wouldn't be here. To me, it feels as if we are born with a old-fashioned tape, and on that tape is like some magnetic resonance or some pictures or some film of our basic nature. And so in some ways what's coming towards us, because it's all cycles, the tape's going round, the world's going round, we have the chance to experience things, but it's what we pay attention to that makes our reality, I think. I don't know, but that's what I think. And what I'm trying to say is karma is in our hands, but we still have the situations coming towards us. It's how we play it out. What are we thinking? How we approach things, our thoughts and our actions basically keep the tape moving around and layer it so that it can become quite solidified unless you play with life. Unless you're there thinking, well, I know this is how I normally react, but I'm not going to do it this time. We're stuck in ruts and we become unconscious and we don't even know what's coming towards us a lot of the time. And we can blame it on situations and other people. It's all about us. It's all about you. Anyway, if you want to take your choice from the pink, the red and the blue, and we'll get going. Okay, pile number one. Before I start, and I think talking about karma to me is quite serious, because I don't want people to think this is their karma, this is what is going to happen. It's basically ideas for you to reflect on and think whether it fits or not, to be honest. Because if there's more than two people watching, it won't be the same. So it's just basically you take from it what you feels right to you. Before I start, I wanted to tell you a story about a lady who it's a very small story. A lady who lives where I was brought up. She was a primary school teacher, and her name was Mrs. Bott. God bless her, Mrs. Bott. And I think she was Sagittarius. I don't know why I think that. I don't know if somebody's told me, it's clicked in my mind as a kid. But when I first came down here, we always felt like we didn't fit in, because we were from Manchester, and in that time I don't think many English people, I don't know whether it was our perception here, which is very much probably fed into my karma, whether many English people were welcome down here. My mum always said that everybody's very welcome with her, but we used to get things were said to us when we were in school. Some places you just don't feel like, you feel like an outsider. Anyway, Mrs. Bott was always ever so lovely with me, and I moved down as about 4 or 5, and she used to sit me on her knee, and I'd miss schooling, so she used to try and really help me. But she was one of these ladies that gave very freely, and as we grew up, whenever we went to village events, she was always the one that won every lottery. It was like, we'd get you buy a lottery ticket, it's like, is there any point, Mrs. Bott's here? It was she just won everything. It was as if she gave out, and in return she got luck back. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking of karma. This woman was Sagittarius. It's the Wheel of Fortune card. It's Jupiter. You're always on the top. It's always like you choose your own karma, and when you're coming down, it comes back and gets you. It's like watching Jupiter come around the chart. You see it, and it's hitting off your Sun, and it's hitting off your MC. And if you haven't put the effort in, you're going to get nothing. If you've basically given out, you've pushed yourself in work, you've pushed yourself here, you've been open with people, you've given, then it comes back to you. That's all I wanted to say with regards to karma. It's like what you put in is what you get out. But being on Earth, the timing is a bit funny. You know, you don't basically put something in, it comes back 5 minutes later. You may get it back 10 years later. You may get it back in your next lifetime. When we die, I think it will be immediate. Your mindset, the way that you think, everything you've accumulated. This is like scary, isn't it? You get back immediately, I reckon, and that's what your heaven and hell is. I don't know this at all. I just wonder a lot. Okay. So, your karma. I'm going to switch off because I haven't looked at these. I was too busy talking. Hold on. This to me, I would guess, if you're talking about past lives, gives a feeling of somebody who has emotional reactions to things, who actually is very receptive, who thinks about things, and who has provided some sort of service for people, as in a carer or somebody that gets people moving or somebody that provides in some way. Quite a solid foundation, but somebody who is very aware, very sensitive, and tries to understand how things work. It's somebody who is the last person home from work. It's somebody who picks a child up from school every day. It's that, and it's that person who, I'm thinking actually to old-fashioned times, I'm going to say it's like the dad who works hard. That's what I was thinking, because that's probably what it was like, hundreds of years ago. And not that I don't know about time like that, as I think it's happening all at the same time, but it's somebody who was solid and provided a foundation for other people. But with providing that foundation, there is, well, I'm guessing, a feeling of somebody who sat back in the evenings and was very reflective with regards to their life, how life works. I don't get it. It's not that sort of Neptune poetic sort of reflection. It's sort of how you all function together and how hard work actually helps provide. But there's a gentleness here as well. It's not somebody who's doesn't think. It's somebody who provides to help others. That is, I guess, part of your foundation. And probably what's coming out in this lifetime is it's like a movement into less pragmatic giving and more emotional giving, but you're still actually giving. It's like you're still doing the work, you're still providing for people, you're still what it looks like, a service. You provide a service. You've got the 6th house and the 6 of Pentacles. You've got the moon and very practical giving, go-getting cards in the past, and then in the future, as in now, it turns into a more emotional attachment to things, or a more emotional method of giving, and a lot of reflection still. So it's like an understanding that has turned from practical giving to emotional, possibly receiving as well. You may be more open to things that you deserve. The 6th house is very sort of, I was going to say self-flagellation, and that is that feeling there, the 6th house. Have you ever tried to compliment a Virgo? Oh my good heavens. It honestly is. And I know I do this myself. When somebody says something nice, sometimes I will write something back like, oh, well, no, it wasn't me, but this. And Virgos are worse. I haven't got any Virgo in me. It's almost like they're mortally offended when you pay them a compliment. This has a feeling of that. It's somebody who has always given to other people and helped other people have a very strong foundation, and themselves probably. But here it's a case of getting a little bit more back and receiving a bit more back, being more open to it, but still not being very comfortable with compliments or with having a position. It's still that feeling of working hard, having to work hard, and not feeling like you may be one of those people who feel like they have to basically sweat to get somewhere. But there feels as if, because there's more, there's the moon in the past, and then there's the Prince of Cups here, so it's as if emotions are seeping in. And I wonder whether that has, with the 6th house, there a lot more self-love. When people do compliment you, you can just actually say thank you. Honestly, complimenting a Virgo, you honestly look like you've slapped them. They look angry sometimes, and I keep thinking, I've got quite a lot of Virgo friends, and if you say something nice, it's as if they're angry that there's a look on their face like, don't insult me. Honestly, it's weird. This has a feeling of that. It has a feeling of somebody who's learning in this lifetime to love themselves. and to actually move emotions within themselves, and a little bit more freeing up of that, because the moon is more reflective here. The Prince of Cups is almost pulling out that emotion a bit more and letting it be lived. It's still in giving. It's still in giving. There's something about you that's very giving. But the Two of Wands here with this lady almost reflecting here in the moon in the past, there is that feeling like, I've done a lot of thinking about this and I'm going to start actually moving a bit more with it rather than just thinking. There's a feeling of self-sacrifice in this one, and I don't know. It feels like it's moving on, but it feels like it's not needed anymore. Let me go on to more relationships here and see what comes out. Relationships are an important factor in your life, probably now and probably always have been. But it feels to me here in the past that there may be some sort of fear-based attitude towards relationships that could seep through into this lifetime. It has a feeling like things have fallen to pieces, but not a case of... I was going to say it's not a case of like an argument you've had and you split up. This has a feeling that in past relationships that you've connected with somebody and possibly something drastic has happened. Like that person isn't in your life anymore, which in olden times, that would have happened so often, wouldn't it? I mean, the lifespan was so much shorter. It feels like this pile feels like something sudden has happened in a relationship in the past and you have not been there and almost received some sort of communication that has shocked. It's something to do with a connection that has come to a sudden end, and it's like somebody else has told you. You weren't with this person. It's like a letter that you received. It's, I don't know how many lifetimes ago this could be. It'd be like a phone call and you've almost been speechless. And I wonder whether in this lifetime it's rolled over to... Could be two things here. With regards to relationships, it could be that you have kept your thoughts and feelings to yourself in this lifetime more so, and then maybe that you're quite reticent to actually display your emotions, even when the other person is has very obviously fallen for you. The Knight of Wands there could be two ways that you may have also split your personality to look like you don't care and to actually be out there doing things rather than connecting emotionally. Okay, this is a busy pile. And I'm going to start moving cards, I think, because it feels like a little story that's coming together. This feels like somebody who's moon sign could be in an earth sign, and it's that type of feeling. Somebody who feels that they need to be solid for others, somebody who has, with your stamp that you have come into this lifetime, it feels as if it vibrates to some sort of practical vibration where you feel that you need to be the person that gets people moving when they're down. You feel like you're the person that needs to provide. You could be somebody from a split family where the children are younger and you've had to be quite solid. It's that type of feeling where you've had to take responsibility and be the sensible one. But there's something in that has almost, with regards to the way that you look at the world, it has done you some sort of justice in the fact that you can reflect on. It's given you the ability to reflect on what makes you tick and what you want to come into your life next. And there has a feeling here of pulling back and understanding, and there's still a strong need to give. It's like you can't wipe that off, but there's a feeling here of you wanting more, and it has to do with emotions. And there's Juno there with a connection. And I wonder whether in this lifetime, whether work gets in the way of your relationships, whether you're somebody whose partner works too much, you work too much, or you're separated by a work situation. If it's not a work situation, it's a situation that's very practical where there's a lot of giving. It's just sixth house, because there's like a throw up here between work, commitments and relationships. But there's also, I'm guessing here, a timing factor with regards to relationships because of this sort of feeling here, or a relationship that hasn't quite worked out because it's finished too early. And there's like a shock factor. And that shock factor, you know, when you get the Tower card and the Ten of Swords together, and if we were talking about that tape that we talked about earlier, where you have like a magnetic resonance that has like lifetimes worth of feelings and thoughts and actions all compounded onto that tape, and that is where our personalities come from and our expectations, it feels as if something drastic has happened. So I wonder whether, with regards to relationships now, whether there's quite a, I'm going to say, a plutonic cling to a certain person, or that feeling that time is running out. As in, if this relationship doesn't work, they're going to slip out of my grasp in some way. Because there's I wonder whether here with Juno and the Tower and the Ten of Swords, there could be something to do that is a fear-based feeling with regards to holding on to relationships. And the answer to that, you know, take this with a pinch of salt, but the answer to that is to understand the process and the fact that this isn't going to make any difference to how long this person is in your life, because they have their own karma to live. The Knight of Wands is telling you to almost let up on that service feeling and to just enjoy love as it is, not always as if it's going to be taken away from you. Because the King of Cups at the end with regards to relationships, and these drastic cards here, which make me think that somebody has been taken away from you early. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one love relationship. It could be like a parent, but there is a feeling here of a fear of somebody you love being taken away from you. And there could be also, with all these work cards around, and you coming across as being quite a solid giver in that way. What is a solid giver? I don't know. Of a work-life balance as well being very important to the way that you need to go forward. It's don't throw yourself too much into work. You know, you've got the Knight of Wands at the end, you've got the King of Cups at the end. It's like your answer is to reflect on these things that have happened. If any of it feels true, you know, the Knight of the Wands and the Knight of Wands and the King of Cups is screaming to you to basically have a balanced lifestyle. Don't put too much into work. Make sure it's all balanced. You know, like give a third to your friends, give a third to those close people that you love, and give a third to work. You know, it's a balance here, because it feels as if there's like something ticking inside you that it's a strong feeling here of don't put your relationships on a back burner. You've got too many work cards. I'll tell you why, which makes it probably easier. You've got the 6. This is basically life situations, relationships in the past, life situations and relationships now. These two piles here, you've got the 6 of Pentacles, the 6th house. So there's that feeling of somebody that's, you know, has to basically knuckle down and get things done. That is part of you. But here in the relationship spread, you've got something, the Tower and the Ten of Swords is like something drastic that has happened when you're basically with the Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Ace of Page of Pentacles here. You're giving, you're working, you're providing, you're stuck in life. You know, you're very much in the center of it, and you're very much doing it and giving. The moon there is, I'm guessing, a creeping feeling of trying to understand, why do we do these things? Why do we work, you know, engross ourselves in life and work like ants? And it's like a feeling of stop and look at the stars, stop and look at the moon, stop and look at the sun. What is really going on? It's that ability to begin to reflect the part that we play, and there's more to it. And then it feels like here that with this Tower and the Ten of Swords, like something very dear to you, someone very dear to you has been taken away. You've got Juno here. It's got to be some sort of close relationship. And you possibly have reverted back to the old personality of providing, giving in work, being there, you know, giving to others. And it's like, you're going to miss out in this lifetime unless you can still, the Hermit and the Moon there's got to be some more reflection, unless you understand with the Knight of Wands and the King of Cups to give more time to love, to give more time to love, to the people that you love, and to, you know, Knight of Wands is, you know, I'm saying this and I don't do it. The Knight of Wands is spend more time with people, have more fun, do things that you want to do. Get the money out of the bank. Beg, borrow, steal. Find those people that you enjoy yourself, that make you laugh, and do it. There could be like a feeling here. It depends on your age and what stage of life you're in. Because it could be either, relax on trying to set yourself up in your career for a bit. Just take a holiday, take a few weeks off. It could be if you've got old parents. It's like, take a couple of weeks off from looking after them. Go abroad, have fun. Just buy a flight to Greece and go island hopping. That's me. I want to do that. It's that type of feeling. It has a strong Virgo feel to it. It has a feeling that you have the need to relate, but also the need of putting yourself in what you want below where it should be and providing for people. And within doing that, you're forgetting to enjoy yourself with people. You're forgetting that it's part of who you are is to not just give and do the things that keep people alive, keep people happy, but to enjoy yourself with them too. And to exchange love. If there's somebody who you hold dear in a one-to-one relationship, is to let that flow, be open. And if they compliment you with those Virgo cards there in that 6th house, it's like, accept it. If there's somebody close to you or somebody you've fallen for and you can't actually get close to them because you're quite defensive, you think, well, they won't like me, or I'm not as handsome as their last partner, I don't know, whatever fears people have, or I'm bored. Virgos often think they're boring. Which to me is really weird, because to me you're so busy thinking, oh my God, they're just so kind, they're just so easy themselves, they're just, and then they're like, I think a lot of Virgos actually think that they're dull. And I'm sure some can be, but to be honest, can't we all? You put some more on. Okay, before I deal any more cards, with regards to normal life circumstances and what we've talked about, giving and providing, and there's that feeling here as things progress that you've reflected quite a lot, and there's got to be more of an emotional sort of connection with people, where I'm not saying you don't do that, but that has got to be part of it, where you accept love and give love rather than just practically providing. There is a feeling here of you feeling shut out of situations and almost feeling as if it's your job, as if something you may have brought through lifetimes, to actually just be there for people, to give them the leg up and make their life more easy. But there's more to it than that. There's got to be some sort of emotional connection with this person for you to be still getting something out of it, because you've done all the hard work in the past. It's like, don't provide for people unless you feel that there is some, This could have many scenarios. Just say you're giving to somebody and you don't think it's appreciated. It's this will say to almost stop that wheel going around and say, okay, that's it. That I've sort of stopped now, because there's got to be something more than just turning up and doing it and not thinking. Some people can do that. They can provide even when it's thrown back at them. And this is more to do with everyday life rather than personal relationships. Is that you almost, as if you feel slightly shut out of the situation, but you're still giving. You feel slightly defensive about something, but you're still giving. So this could very much be your career, or very much, your work situation. And it's a case of, what are you getting back out of it here? What are you emotionally getting back? Because there's feeling here of needing more emotions. Does it make you feel alive? Does it make you feel as if, does it make you feel alive? And if not, then why are you doing it? It's like a pattern that you may have built up, that you think that you're supposed to be there and show up and do this for the team. This is like saying, if you don't feel if you belong in the team, why are you doing it? And that doesn't have to be, I'm thinking like one-to-one relationships. That's not one-to-one. That's not personal love relationships to me. But it could be a case of caring for family members. Because that to me is slightly out of the situation here with regards to somebody very close being taken from you. This very similar Virgo-y feeling here of this is really nice with regards to more personal relationships. This has a timing factor. If there's somebody that you're attracted to, somebody that you feel as if there's a really strong connection, there very much could be a very strong connection. Don't balls it up by being anxious. It's like get stuck in, those bits that you apply to your everyday life where you show up and do it. It's like do that but with zest with regards to your relationship. It's like give freely. You've got the King of Cups here, you've got the Ten of Pentacles, and you've got the Six of Cups here for sort of like advice. I mean, the King of Cups was there already, but that's a feeling of connect and think the best in every situation. This could be your future. This person that has turned up in your life could be the person for you, and it's remain open and give freely and less anxiety. This is a case of don't get stuck in to provide. This is a case of get stuck in to enjoy yourself. There's quite a lot of this in this spread. I remember reading, it reminds me very much of reading a book once. I don't even know what it was. It was probably about 20 years ago. And it could have been, I don't know if it was those Robert Monroe books I keep talking about. But it was a man who travelled out of his body. And he could have been going back to his past lives or whatever. And it was a woman in a very, very poor house. And she had something like 13 children, and she was absolutely haggard. She'd provided her whole life and not been treated very nicely. And this has a feeling of, not to that extreme, but there's a feeling of somebody who you're tiring yourself out. Bring it back the fun. You don't want to be sat in a chair. If you could see yourself in 50 years time and you came back to see, I don't know how old you are now, and you were sat in a chair and you were just tired of giving, it's a case of this is your call to start living. Hey, I'm a poet, I didn't know it. And I don't mean that you're not living, it just is relax with yourself, enjoy yourself, give freely, love freely, have fun. You've done it before. You don't need to provide for everybody every lifetime. It's something that, like a Virgo South Node, it's something that comes natural to you. Great, do it occasionally, but don't live by that anymore. Your Pisces South Node is going to be, if North Node is going to be your King of Cups. It's going to be releasing the anxiety, not holding on to, oh my God, I must make tea, I must get home. What is that about? Okay, so to sum this up, pile number one, with regards to your karma, and take this with a pinch of salt because, karma's probably very important stuff, but it's just what we do over and over again until it feels like it's us. It's saying relax with yourself. It is honestly very much a Virgo South Node. It's don't be anxious, don't play too much, don't give too much importance to the small things. You've done it, you've proved yourself, you can do it, but it's like treat every relationship, the close relationships, as precious, because we don't know how long we're here, we don't know how long the other person is here, and it's better to reveal, it's better to express, it's better to love than, I'm not going to say it's better to love, or is it better to have lost than loved? My mum used to say it to me all the time. I can't remember, there's a certain saying, isn't it? It's better to have loved than lost than never loved at all. Yeah, that was it. And this honestly feels like that. Get back the fun. Express yourself. No anxiety, no defensiveness. You don't have to feel like you belong. You just basically get stuck in. It's don't think too much about it because there's reflection there in the past. You've done it. It's a case of be less Virgo, be more Pisces to me. it has a feeling here of take your clothes off, run around in the rain. The next person that, that person that you see who you're really attractive to, just, smile and give them a hug and say you're looking great. It's that feeling rather than stamping around trying to put your knives and forks in the correct place and clean the cutlery drawer. It really does have a feeling of let that go. Bigger things, bigger fish to boil, or whatever it is. It honestly does feel like that. Okay, pile number 1, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that's helped. It's interesting to me, but it's difficult to pull all together because to me it feels like a provider that needs to pull back on the giving and ham up the loving for your own sake, not because of anything you've done wrong. It's like a process that you've got into. It's like a mother or father figure, like, I must look after my little chicks. It's like, no, done that. Let's just have some fun. Let's just enjoy it and get stuck in because you belong in whatever situation you decide you want to belong into. Yeah, you want to belong into. That's what all karma is about. It's like, wipe it free. Where do you want to go? You live there. Who do you want to be with? That could be your person. It's not like, well, I can't do that because, this reason or that reason. It's like, well, release that thought and then it may come to you. And put yourself in situations and just relax with it. Very Pisces. Don't think too much. Don't categorize too much. Don't think you know the answer. Don't think that the answer that you have now is wrong. And if it is the wrong thing, then just do it anyway. Just flow with it. Okay, pile number 1, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for spending time with me. Hi, pile number 2. I'm just going to start off this reading with a little very short story of Mrs. Bott, who was a primary school teacher where I am now. And we moved from England to Wales, and at that time I don't know whether this is true or not, or whether it's just one of these karmic things that we tend to pick up. I don't know, where you feel like a lot of the time in Wales we often felt, and these things did happen actually as we got older, where to be English was a little bit different, and not everybody, but sometimes you felt as if you weren't really that welcome in some ways. But not everybody, I feel bad saying that, because it's not totally true. It's just it's very much what I'm talking about. It's very much those people that said it, the ones that stuck in your mind, and not the thousands and thousands and thousands of other people that were incredibly welcoming. It's the ones that basically used to shout things at you when you're old in the pub and go back home, that type of thing. But as a very young kid, you're trying to find out where you fit in life, and you feel as if you're in a new school and it feels alien. Mrs. Bott was this lady who was very giving, very loving, and you felt it as a child. She used to sit you on your knee and help you with things when you changed school you didn't understand. And I can remember, that sort of coming across as a 4 or 5, very young, thinking what a lovely lady. She was Sagittarius, and Mrs. Bott, as I grew up, every raffle, every prize evening, she won it all. She was just one of those ladies, expected life to be good, was very welcoming, very Jupiterian, and as a case, it was not totally good, but it was. She won every raffle. This is what I'm talking about what I'm thinking about, to be honest, when it comes to karma, that whatever you push out, the way that every situation that comes towards you, however horrendous, it's the way that we think, the things that we say, our actions that become our habits and make our reality. That's what I'm trying to say. So saying that, let's have a little look at what cards you've got here with regards to where you're coming from and where you're probably going, and maybe little clues that you can sort out yourself, because that's what it's all about, you sorting out yourself. I thought that I was putting that in the middle. Made me think of cat in the hat. We can't have fun without you in the middle, and that's what it's all about. It's all about you. Okay. I've got 2 piles here, which to me are like basic life circumstance, and that includes things like work and everyday activities. And then I've got what are love piles here. These are more what you're bringing with you. These are possibly where you're going and where you can grow and make things easier for yourself. In this work pile here, you've got the Justice card here, where there's balance, and it is very Libra. It feels as if it's something to do with your life that's very easy. And the World card next to it makes me think that you have always had a very inclusive and the larger perspective of how the world works. So, it feels like you've got knowledge and understanding and ability to relate and make your life smoother and everybody else's life smoother. It feels like your mind processes, and Libra is the mind, are very balanced. Funny that, very balanced. And the World card is, you've been through the journey, you've got a good understanding, and the good is like, underestimating it there. A profound understanding of the part that you play, how you basically create your own karma and where you're going and where you sit. The High Priestess at the bottom here makes me think again, it's like, shut up, Lindsay, this person knows it already. That's what it makes me think of with the High Priestess here, and the World and the Justice card. And we're talking about karma here. Fantastic cards to have. Justice, balance, the World, from the Fool into the World. You've done it, you understand it. The High Priestess there, once again, is like, you know what's going on. It feels really nice. This feels really nice, your pile. You have got, actually, just to put a little, let's say sock in the boot, that makes no sense. 5 of Pentacles here, which makes me think that you've got a fantastic understanding, but I wonder whether you felt like you're not included in this understanding. It's that I can live this for other. Bit like pile number 1, again, a little Virgo feel, a little Virgo nip on what has a very profound, I'm guessing very spiritual feeling about it, because there's an understanding of that includes everybody else, but maybe possibly not me. It's like, they deserve that. I can see that coming. It's like somebody that gives and is pleased for other people when everything works out, but they may not feel that they need to be included in that, and it's like saying, yeah, you do. You've got the 10th house here as well, and you've got Mercury. There may be something to do with communicating your wants and your needs in a work situation, or with regards to a parent, possibly a father. You've got the Lovers, you've got the Home card here, and the 3 of Swords. So to me, I was going to start talking about career more so, but this has possibly upset to do with, and this could be this lifetime as you are now, to do with authority figures, to do with figures that may actually remind you of your dad, which could again be work situations. It could be your public standing in some way where you feel like you want to relate. You feel like there could be even some sort of throw up between your home life and giving in work, which causes you some upset. But you have, I guess, here with these cards here, a real understanding of what should happen, but it almost as if it's flummoxed. It's like, you know it when you sit on your bed at night and you've got a situation which feels hard, like a relationship problem in work, or you could have lost your job and you're wondering where you fit in. And especially at the moment, it's like, I know people are all over the place, aren't they, with work situations. You've had time to work at home, you've had time to question it. If this is you, with this backdrop here, it's like a case of there's more to life, and that would have hit you hard with this understanding behind you. It's like you could be one of those people that have worked for the last, I don't know how young you are, it could be, you could be very young and just plugged away at your GCSEs or plugged away at your A-levels and going to college, and then you may have stopped and thought, well, actually, I need a bit of time to do something else for a bit. Or you could be that person that has, spent 30 years in employment and it's not quite worked out as you wanted it to in this lifetime. There's a balance here, the Lovers here being, 2 sides of something, and the 10 of Pentacles being in a home situation, the 10th house being up here as being the 10th house, which is normally you're standing in the outside world and heartache. So there's got to be, if you're reading these cards, and it won't apply to everybody, they're cards at the end of the day that it's nice talking and trying to get the information out, but you've got to translate it for yourself, as in this karmic, the whole 3 spreads are the same. You've got to translate the world for yourself, and how you do that translation is what's coming toward you next. It's what pictures do you pay attention to? It's all sliding by us, isn't it? It's like a kaleidoscope of images and people's thoughts and feelings, and what we pay attention to makes our lives. And as I said in the first spread, it's not immediate. We're here and Saturn rules the earth and it slows things down. So every thought, every reaction, everything you've given out it's going to come back to you, but who knows what's going to happen. It could be tomorrow, it could be in 10 years time, it could be in next lifetime. And I said in the last pile, when we die, and this is why I think it's so important to get our mind processes worked out for ourselves, why we're here. That is why we're here. Because when we die, it'll be immediate. You'll still be conscious, it's just that there's no time. It'll just be coming thump at you. So if you go, you're dying with crappy mind processes and you think that everybody's against you and your life's shit, you don't want to go with that. You want to smooth yourself out. It feels to me, this pile, as if you've done a really good job of that. But I wonder whether at the moment here, with these harder cards and decisions and home and work and heartache, whether you may be going through some sort of trials in work or with parents or something. And this is probably saying to you, reflect on your inner nature here, because you've already got it inside you. You've done it all before. You know it. You understand it. It's like, take it easy. Don't overreact. Take it easy. Keep plodding, and use your most reflective, most understanding and smoothest emotions and thoughts and feelings and actions. Right. Let's have a look at relationships. Once again, it feels like you've come in, if you had your astrology chart, I would expect to see a lot of trines in there and lots of Jupiter sort of trines there, trines including the bigger planets, where you have a really innate understanding of how you function, how the world functions and what part you play in it. You've got Temperance and the Hierophant there. You very much could have, but it does have a feeling that you could have done something like this in a past life, where you were the middleman for some sort of religious concepts or understanding of God, whatever that means to you or anybody else. Because the Temperance card and the Hierophant there, the Temperance is Sagittarius, it's that Jupiter card, it's that balance card, very much like the Venus there, of being balanced in yourself. The Hierophant, Hierophant? Oh, that was very Welsh, wasn't it? There used to be a programme here in Wales called Elephant, basically is Welsh for elephant. Elephant. Anyway, Hierophant, you could have been the middleman. With this pile here, which is a very wise type of read here. This not me reading it, but your pile has an understanding and wisdom about it. And having the Hierophant here and the Eight of Wands with communication, you could possibly have been the person that people come to on what to do next, like a counsellor or a religious figure in some way, and you have got the Wheel of Fortune here as well. Do you know what it's making me think of? Because this is a relationship pile, like you put a lot, and I'm wondering here, the 10th house being very strong, very similar to pile number 1, but different feel totally. Because in relationships, you've got the Wheel of Fortune, which is making me think back to this Temperance, this Jupiterian feel of being somebody who shares philosophies and understanding of life very strongly in this pile. And you've got the Four of Swords here, the Three of Pentacles here, and the Chariot here, as in your relationships may take you give to others. It's got a feeling of you give on a wider scale. It's like that humanitarian person that possibly hasn't made the time for relationships, and maybe this is where you have, I'm not going to say tripped yourself up, because it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're doing the right thing. But there is the Lovers and the Home card here and the Heartbreak card under your everyday circumstances. The 10th house is like trying to split your time between work and relationships. You have got a very strong, wise feeling here of understanding, and possibly a backdrop of giving to people with a spiritual or religious understanding, and that may be the position that you played in life. And then you're coming over here for relationships. You've got the Wheel of Fortune. It's the same feeling. It's like understanding karma yourself. You know it already, so why are you listening to me? It does have that feeling here. And the Four of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, the Chariot is like Your relationships somehow have to lie low for the part that you play, Three of Pentacles, in the world with regards to providing for others, not a service, but working with others. The Chariot is decisions again, very much like the Lovers. It's like pulling things together, and that may be a big, I'm going to say, life process that always keeps coming back to you. Let me put some more cards out here. This pile is fantastic because it feels like you've got everything sussed. It feels like you should be giving me a reading, so why am I doing it? It does, honestly. It's like, for God's sake, stop reading. They can see this already. They can read the cards. They know what's being said here. It's like you have a, wait for this, it's like you have some sort of higher purpose. You should be doing something where you are helping others, and relationships sometimes might have to take a back burner, and this is saying that's just fine, that's okay. There's something you should be doing. This is like a pile, like, wake this person up, shake them up, because they know it. They've just maybe have got themselves into a pickle with regards to giving in other areas, and that is not where they're going. You got, oh no, okay, I'm going to stop there. You've got the Chariot twice. And like, what should this person be doing? And this is on the relationship pile. And this is, the Chariot is, and I'm getting a feeling here of pull between a life purpose and relationships. The Chariot is saying, just bloody do it. You know what you're meant to be doing. It's like, go straight for it. You're doing it. It's fine. You can have relationships. It doesn't really matter. But there's something here that is bigger in what I'm picking up here. Your life that is more than small things. Not that relationships are small things. Relationships are incredibly important. But there's a bigger something you should be doing. And you should be doing it. And I'm asking, what should this person be doing that's so big that they should be basically putting that first? You've got the Page of Rods, the Page of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. It's like a really, really strong feeling in me that you know what it is already. You probably have started it. If not, you need to be doing it in very, very small steps, but you've got to get it started. It's got to come out of your head, and it's got to be basically rooted in reality. It's something you have a look at your South Node. Have a look at your aspects to your South Node. What are you meant to be doing? Have a look at your trines, have a look at your Jupiter. It's something to do with you providing information or a service to people that is larger than the everyday world. It has that, I don't know how to put it into words. It's a religious feeling to it, and I don't know what what does religious mean? To bind. It is putting things together, but it's pulling things together for you to translate it for other people. It doesn't have to be you standing in a pulpit reading scriptures. It doesn't have to be that, but that is part of it. It's you being your own pulpit. It's you translating everything that you have inside you, and making people see what is really happening. That you understand your own karma. You understand what part you play in it. You understand that you are a part in it, rather than that it's something being thrown at you. And there's something about this of you being the middleman and having to provide that service for others. Does this make sense to you? And it doesn't matter whatever your job is. Whether you work in a laundromat or whether you are a vicar, it doesn't matter. There's something in the way that your unique viewpoint, the way that you view the world, has to be shared with other people. And even if it's like you need to do it now, it needs to get started and it needs to be direct, and you need to have some sort of focus on that, because you're providing a bigger service for everybody else. And in doing that, you're providing a service for yourself. It feels as if it's something very innate in you. It has a humanitarian feel to it. You know, I'm always expecting the 11th house there, Uranus, but it's not. It's more Jupiter. And it's also saying as well here with regards to don't worry about relationships. You know, if you haven't got one, it's not meant to be at this time. It's just not meant to be. There's something bigger you're meant to be doing, and get started with it. If you split up from somebody here, the Three of Swords, the home, the lovers, it's like that is there for a reason, because of something else you're meant to be doing. Get started with it. This is very exciting, really interesting for me. Please leave comments in the comment section. You know, what are you doing? You know, what do you do with yourself? What do you do with yourself? Because you must have this feeling with this pal here. You must have a feeling already that there's something that you are. I guess you're doing it. You've got the High Priestess, you've got the World card there, you've got the Justice card there. It feels to me like somebody who is already doing this, but with the Five of Pentacles there, almost feels like a bit of a fraud. And we all do, you know, it's just the way it is. But we all feel when we do tarot readings like, and I'm sure everybody who does a tarot reading, why would anybody want to listen to me? And it's always I think it'll always be there, that feeling. But it's just, if there's one little thing that you pick out of one pile, whether it was like in February or whether it's 2 years away, it's like that can make a difference to somebody. And I know from looking at other people's readings, there's just something, it's just nice to listen to other people's, you know, how they interpret things, their mind process and what they've got to give. And it doesn't all apply. And I don't think it's really meant to all apply. It's not so much like a magic trick, it's just like an awakening. You know, it's an awakening, it's getting your mind churning. And this has got my mind churning. This is beautiful. I don't think I'm going to say any more, because I think if I said any more, it would repeat myself. But it was like, it's like a feeling that you've done this before. Have a look at your South Node. If you feel like you're a fraud in this world, as in there's only a slight feeling there, it's not a fraud, that's too strong. It's if you feel like it doesn't feel right, forget that, just keep doing it anyway. There is also a feeling here of relationships. You know, if you've had breaks up in relationships or there isn't one there at the moment, it's like, don't worry about that, you've got more important fish to fry. You've got to communicate something. You've got to communicate something from inside yourself of your understanding of life and life's processes, and how it's got that psychiatrist feeling of letting people understand that they are an active part of their own life, their own karma, not passive. Okay, right, pile number 2. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. You've got the 6th house, you've got Mars, and you have got the 6 of Cups. These piles have got more of, these 2 piles here have got more of a past and present, just general life feeling. This pile here is more relationships, past and present. So I'm just sort of peeling it all together, or peeling it off and putting it all together in my head. There is a strong feeling here as I was getting the cards out, possibly of providing, putting a lot of effort in past relationships. With the 6 of Cups here, there's a feeling of giving freely, and putting everything into either a very close bond or a one-to-one relationship, and it not delivering what you expected. Possibly. This is a general reading, so take it as it resonates, I suppose. And I don't know what has, there's a feeling here that somebody could have been taken from you, like too early. There's a feeling here of possibly of, I'm going to say this because, I don't know at all. I'll tell you why I'm saying it, then it may be easier for you to understand. In the past, in general relationships, you've got the 6 of Cups here. You've got a family card here. It makes me think of children. It makes me think of, very sort of close, emotional family bonds, and you've got here a feeling at the end of independence, but in between that you've got the Tower card. So my first thought here is you may have given and lost in the past, and as this moves forward, you've got here a feeling of, in relationships, you being quite tentative. This is still, I'm guessing, in the past. And in the past, you know, who knows what those nodes mean in your chart. It could be just the way that our mind processes have been somehow, I'm going to say, caramelized in our heads. What does that mean? Sometimes, you know, somehow structured in our heads. And that South Node could just be some sort of psychological concepts or thoughts that we have solidified inside ourselves. But there could possibly be with you a feeling of, if I love, it will be taken away. I'm going to make sure that you got the Five of Swords in love relationships and the Seven of Pentacles here. The sixth house, it's like I can provide, I can give, but I'm always going to keep something back from myself in case I get hurt again. The Five of Swords here gives almost a plutonic feeling of possibly not wanting the other person to have one up on you. And you control that maybe through just giving little bits at little times. Because the Virgo sixth house feeling is they provide, they give, they're there, but it almost feels as if it's not gushing, it's controlled. And the Four of Wands here at the bottom, sometimes I interpret that card as being like because of they're actually celebrating, you can actually interpret like that. But to me, it just feels like the good old Four of Wands of stability. You provided the stability, but it's almost like you've also retracted a bit of your exuberance because you're afraid of tripping yourself up or something being taken away from you. It's like you put a lot of effort into things. You've got Mars, you've got the King of Pentacles, you've got the Queen of Swords, you've got the Four of Wands again. In this lifetime, it's like you're craving that stability. In work situations and probably relationships as well, you're craving that relationship, that stability, but you're almost with the Tower in the past and the Six of Cups, you've connected and it's been taken away, whether it's due to, you know, and I keep thinking like, you know, how many past lives have we had with life expectancies being so short of people being taken away from us? And that's going to stick, isn't it? You know, that tape recorder thing that I talked about at the beginning, that is going to be a huge blip in there. You're going to be able to see that one. And we all feel that, but this has a very strong feeling with you of you still providing, you still having enthusiasm for life, but there's like something emotionally vulnerable nipping away. If I give, it's going to go. And so all I do is give, but I keep a bit back for myself, which is fine, but it's understanding. You know, you may come across to people like she's holding something back, he's holding something back. Not saying there's anything wrong in that. That may be just something to do with the way that you work. Oh no, hold on. In love relationships, you've got the Fool next to the Cups and the Queen of Wands. That is not holding back. This whole pile is everyday life. It's fine to be controlled. It's great to be controlled. You know, it's what you've done and it works well for you. Keep that going. You know, turn up to work. For others, be there, be strong, and I think you have been. You don't have to overplay the emotional. That's not going to be part of your everyday life. But in close relationships, you've got the Fool and the King of Cups. With the Queen of Wands, is don't let the past burn you too much. It's like keep giving. Yeah, and it's like be bigger than waiting for something to trip you up. The Fool card fascinates me at the moment. Hold on, I'm just going to change my battery. I was just saying here, the Fool card fascinates me at the moment. I decided I was going to do some like tarot teaching. Yeah, tarot teaching course, like a course, but not very that structured. And so I was looking at the Fool and I was trying to think about the Fool, you know, like you do that sort of trying to be really profound and meditate. And all I could feel was really, really cold energy. And I'm thinking of Uranus. And never before has the word alien, I've never really interpreted it. You know, you think like little beings with big eyes, don't you? To me, that's alien energy. It's just stuff that is out of this world. You're looking for emotion, you can't find it. It's there, it's humming, it's ready to be born, and there's just, you can't relate to it whatsoever. The Fool card there is that energy. It's like, it's exciting, and it can make things happen, it can make life, but you can't relate to it here. The King of Cups is a feeling of getting things moving, throw yourself in and relate. It's like push away all those thoughts and those feelings of possibly things being taken away from you in love relationships. It's like relate big time. But the Knight of Pentacles here at the bottom of it is like, you've got to feel it inside yourself, that ability to give and open up. The Fool and the King of Cups is saying that. The Queen of Cups solidifies that. But the Knight of Pentacles is, you don't have to make it uncontrollable for yourself. You still have, you don't have to go declaring undying love and licking people's faces when you fancy them. The Knight of Pentacles here is, you can do it in your own controlled way, but inside yourselves, you've got to break down the walls. This is what this one this is what this one feels like to me. It's almost a case of, you've been hurt in the past, something's been taken away from you, and you could very easily, resonate with that hurt forever. And I think what you possibly have done is almost like cut yourself off. It's not a case of you've been, I've been thwarted, I'm going to be vindictive to everybody. This is more a case of like, that hurt, I'm just going to cut off for a bit. And you've tried, and in this life, you may do work hard, provide a stable environment, very discerning in the things that you say, very controlled, very much a stable. It feels like you're an authority figure in some way. So, that could be anything. It could be, you could be the brother or the sister that your siblings come to for advice. You could be just that person that people call up when they're in trouble. And that's fine, but there's got something here very, with regards to personal relationships in this third spread, it's like, release that. You can still play the game of looking like you're in control, but inside yourself, you've got to give it everything. It's like, break down those barriers that you have constructed inside yourself to protect yourself of something being taken away from you. And with the 6th house here, the Knight of Pentacles, there's lots of feelings here. You can do it in a very controlled way. It's not a case of, I'm a fool there though. Internally, you've got to rehash your mind processes with regards to being self-defensive in personal relationships, I think here. Because I think that's how that fear has translated. It's translated into being a little bit reticent in one-to-one relationships and playing it too slowly. Always thinking that the other person may have one up on you because you feel that people can take things away from you, because that's what you experience, a feeling of threat, I'm guessing, when people withdraw. It's like, oh my God, that's going to be a huge big deal for me. My whole life's going to collapse. It was making me think of, and I've said this in another reading before, of Philip Schofield being regressed on one of these, like, is it This Morning, whatever program it was, and he started talking about not being financially stable and having money taken away from your past life. He started crying. It was obviously something, regardless of whether it was right or not, that was a big issue to him, that he couldn't provide for his family. I would say that your issue here has been the fear of something being taken away from you in the past, because it's basically, it's reverberated extremely strong within your aura, or what you carry around with you that carries your memories. And it feels as if you're a little bit tentative with attaching to people. And this is saying, do it with what you can cope with, but inside yourself, it's like, let it go. It's time to let it go. That Fool energy is new energy. The King of Cups is just connecting in a way that nobody can take anything from you, because you're just connecting and you're giving regardless of what happens. It has that helicopter mum feel about it here. I'm not saying it's to do with children. It's to do with, I don't even know what a helicopter mum was, probably till my kids were quite a bit older. but it's the mum that is so close to the kids because there's a fear there of that child hurting itself, or that's that child doing something wrong, and you possibly have tried in past, maybe have interfered and tried to gain control, and this is like, forget it. You can't control it. You can't control what's coming. And in fact, in some way, which I believe strongly in, the more that you relax with it, the less attention you pay to it, these things being taken from us, the less likely it's going to happen. You're not going to pull that situation towards you. In fact, my sister-in-law was saying yesterday that she's very fearful. She was very fearful with her children when she was younger, and that she used to sanitize everything. I used to feed my kids on the floor. And that her son's got a nut allergy, and she wonders whether it was that, because she was so anxious about keeping everything clean. That she wonders whether by paying so much attention to it, she actually got what she didn't want in the end. I'm not saying that she's aware of the possibility of karma, whether that is correct. I'm just saying this has something to do with you in relationships, and a fear of something being taken away from you, and it could replicate itself unless you basically, the Fool and the King of Cups is like, forget it. It's like, even if I'm burnt, you've got to keep going with it. It's like the Knight of Pentacles is, pick yourself up, do it again, because that's the only way. Thousands and thousands of years down the track, you're going to get away from that feeling. This may not resonate for everybody, but the Mars card there as well is, honestly, get up and do it again. Somebody with an Aries moon, they get up every morning afresh and fight. So your pile, to me, is got more to do with personal relationships and how you deal with things being taken away from you, and how you need that fight. But that fight is for what you want, not for what you don't want. That fight has got to be for who you want to be, rather than, even if it happens again next week, it's like, don't pay that much attention to it. Pay attention to what you want. And the 6th house here, Knight of Pentacles, it's constant. It's constant, basically rechecking yourself. 7 of Pentacles as well. It's like, keep working, keep plodding, keep moving. Even if that boyfriend is stolen from you, or that girlfriend is, sleeps with somebody else, or your lover runs away across the world, it doesn't matter. This is all about you. It's all about you. And I think as well, with the 9 of Pentacles here, you've worked for that stability in your past life. You've almost pulled yourself out of situations, but you don't do it to the point in this life where you're not actually throwing yourself into relationships and giving. It's like, you don't need that much coolness. In the outside world, regards to work, Queen of Swords, the King of Pentacles, and the 4 of, I'm going to say rods, then wands, that's fine. That control and that ability to act and be is fine, but not in love relationships. It's got to be a release. For advice for love relationships here, you've got the Hangman, the Hierophant, the King of Cups. So that is, use your understanding, use your ability to reflect and to feel, and possibly to, the Hierophant to me speaks of structure here. I'm wondering whether through reflection you make your own boundaries in relationships, but not, I'm guessing here, the King of Cups here twice, not internally. It's like, you can't cut your love off, but you can actually say, that's not going to suit me, that's fine. The actual circumstances, the physicality of the relationship is to say, this is what I'm, this is where I stand, this is what I need from you. I know it doesn't always work that clearly, but it's like, set your boundaries, but not with regards to what you're providing with your emotions. That's what I'm trying to say. The Fool and the King of Cups is give freely. The Hierophant is still have boundaries. Don't release everything. It's not, don't turn into like, don't turn into Pisces and giving too much, but internally you've got to open up. But in the physical reality, it's not like let your lover move in tomorrow and take over your life. This is like you've got to let your love overtake your life. I'm going to go there, pile number 3. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that makes sense, and good luck. Bye.